All right, well, it is Kentucky Derby time, which means it's time to talk about mint juleps. So to talk about that is Elizabeth McCall, Chris Morris from Woodford Reserve Distillery. Man, that's a mouthful, but you know, talking about mouthfuls, we got mint juleps on the mind. So I guess let's just start with Chris. What makes the Kentucky Derby such a special event?
The Kentucky Derby is such a special event, Eric, because it is pageantry, it is style, it is just so fun. It's the best day of Kentucky, and it is historic as well. So it's a place where you can get dressed up, have great food and drinks like mint juleps, and even celebrity watch. It's just everything about Kentucky at its best.
And, you know, Chris, how did bourbon become so closely associated with the Kentucky Derby?
Well, its association goes back to the very early days of Kentucky. Our ancestors brought with them into the state horses and stills, and the early horse farms had their own distilleries. So when Kentuckians would get together, they would bring their horses, show off their horses, race their horses in point-to-point races, and also brag about and enjoy their bourbon. So from the very early days, they've been intertwined.
Yeah, and then, you know, we also bring in the mint julep side of it. So how did that become associated? You know, you talked about the bourbon, so how did both of those two kind of, you know, the mint and all that it comes with it, how did that become a whole big thing?
Well, that's right. The mint julep was called a bracer in the early days, and that's how, when you woke up in the morning, that's how you got the day started, because a bracer would get you braced up for the hard work that being on a horse farm was all about. And it was very simple. Sugar for energy, mint to calm your stomach, and bourbon to get you going. So mint juleps go back over 200 years. We actually see mint julep cups being awarded as trophies to horse racing champions, again, over 200 years ago.
Chris, I'm going to come right back to you, but let's go to Elizabeth for a second. So talk about the $1,000 mint julep cup. How was this year's recipe created, and what charity will they support?
Okay, so this year's $1,000 mint julep cup was really special because, again, we're celebrating the best of Kentucky on Kentucky's best day. Chris Morris and I sat down and actually designed this recipe. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to start with rubbing the mint on the inside of the cup, and we're going to leave the mint on the inside of that cup. Then we're going to take 2 ounces of Woodford Reserve to celebrate the best 2 minutes in horse racing. And we're going to pour that directly into the cup over that mint. Then we have sorghum simple syrup sourced from Woodford County. Sorghum has a lot of complexity to it to really match and stand up to the complexity of Woodford Reserve. Next, we're going to add limestone water, or crushed ice, so made from limestone water, excuse me, and we're going to add that directly into the cup. And we want to get enough ice in there because you want it to slowly melt throughout your race. Then we're going to garnish. We've got the sipping straw that Chris has right there. And then we have 3 spray roses along with a sprig of mint, and you always tuck that in right next to your straw. Top it off with just a little more ice, and then we're going to garnish it with a rose petal from the garland of roses that will be draped on the Derby winner's shoulders. So we're really excited about this year's $1,000 mint julep for the flavor and the look of it, but then the charity this year is the Jennifer Lawrence Arts Fund, so we're really excited to partner with them.
Man, that is making me thirsty, and the description of everything that you just talked about, amazing. So how are bourbon and limestone connected?
So the bourbon and limestone have a great story here in Kentucky. So when you think of Kentucky, you think of bourbon and horses, and that is because of that limestone water. Limestone water is rich in a lot of minerals such as calcium, potassium, and magnesium, which makes for a good use in your cooker when you're making bourbon, and then it also helps to contribute to those strong bones of those horses here at Kentucky.
Man, I mean, it all sounds good. You know, it's Kentucky Derby. It's you know, we're talking about a charity, so that's good stuff too. Let's go back to Chris. You know, what are some other big traditions when you talk about the Kentucky Derby?
Well, traditions such as getting dressed up for Derby is so, you know, classy to be dressed up. The beautiful ladies have the hats and dresses. Yeah. The men are dressed up. You can also do a lot of celebrity watching because so many famous people will come to the Derby. The great food, of course, the drinks we've been talking about, and what better tradition than 140,000 people singing My Old Kentucky Home together right before the Run for the Roses.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'll have my fanciness going on. We'll get the mint julep going. We'll get the Woodford Reserve, and then yeah, I do appreciate everything you've talked about. and also the charity. So, where can people go for more information?
So if people want to learn more about Woodford Reserve, they can visit woodfordreserve.com or even visit woodfordreservemintjulep.com.
All right, and then I'll ask you one more question. Either of you can take this. So what are you looking most forward to for this event, this upcoming Kentucky Derby?
Well, I'm looking forward to just being here on Derby Day. It's such an exciting day. The horses are all running. Everyone's looking their best and walking around with beautiful mint juleps in hand. So it's a great day.
And I look forward to seeing which horse will enter the history books. Always fun.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon, and we'll have more of the sports news coming up after this.